up, everyone? I'm Jeff Lund, and this is the Mediocre Alaskan Podcast, where we are intolerant of weak-minded attitudes that keep people from pursuing new and exciting things in the areas of fitness, outdoors, and general lifestyle. Hope your 2018 is off to a great start. Going to talk to three coaches from Resident CrossFit in Modesto, California. We're going to talk about their views on resolutions, being coaches of people trying to improve their lives in the new year. We'll talk some embarrassing moments in the gym, and that is brought to you by LMT Lifestyle. Not the embarrassing moments, but this show. Also brought to you by Resident CrossFit. Go to lmtlifestyle.com, go to residentcrossfit.com, check that out. Episode 20, here we go. All right, here with Chuy, Medina, Brennan, Koeller, and Kelsey Sheehan. Kelsey is a newer coach at Resident CrossFit down in Modesto. Kelsey, can you give me a little background on your lifting past and coaching past and fitness past?
Yeah, so I was a gymnast and a dancer all throughout life. And then after high school and into college, just wanted to stay fit. And so I went, to a regular gym and then started CrossFit about 7 years ago. So about 2 years into college. But I started coaching gymnastics at 15. And then I've been coaching CrossFit for almost 3 years now. So it's a little history on my fitness and coaching experience.
How did you get hooked up with Resident?
Yeah, so I actually did an internship in Modesto here about 4 or 5 years ago, and joined a gym here. Resident did not exist at the time, and that's how I met Chuy. And so that's how I met them. And then I just moved back to Modesto for a job about in October, so a little over 2 months ago. And it was just a right fit, and I already knew everybody, so decided to join.
Nice. How do you tolerate being around Brennan and Chuy at the same time? I think especially after we came back in August when Brennan's ego was at an all-time high after catching the king salmon. How are these guys like in the gym? I've only seen them for the most part up here when they're experiencing the homeland. How are they as coaches and as team members?
Yeah, well, you have to, they take turns, so you can only take so much. No, I'm just kidding. They're both great. And I haven't known Brennan as long, but both of them are very respectable coaches, and I take everything what they say with a grain of salt, and they're really good at what they do. So
how important is that camaraderie? Because you're kind of the new person. They've been around a little bit. How important is that when you are getting started as a coach yourself, but also creating an environment that is welcoming to new people?
Yeah. So actually, over the years, I've traveled and moved a lot. So I've been at a total of 7 CrossFit gyms. I've been a member of 7 different gyms. And out of those 7 gyms, I've only left one due to some conflict. Other than that, every single time I tried to find a gym, you kind of know when people come up, they talk to you, they want to know where you're from, and then once you get there, if you don't show up for a few days, people are like, hey, where have you been? People are keeping you accountable, you're laughing when you're working out, you're having fun. It definitely makes you want to come back for more, the more fun you have.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen a lot of newcomers, because it's the very beginning of January? Have you seen a lot of newcomers that are the resolution crowd? Have they been showing up yet?
Well, it's only day 2, but since I've been here in October, there's already been a ton of new members. So, I mean, I would say a lot more new members than what I've seen at a lot of other gyms. People stop in often want to try it out.
Yeah. Chuy or Brennan or whoever, what makes the best newcomer? Because it is, that New Year's Eve resolution types, the new those new folk kind of trickle in. Is it better to have someone who's I have never done CrossFit or worked out at all, so I'm just a sponge, just tell me what to do, or the out of shape, I used to work out a little bit, so I think I know some stuff. What makes a good newcomer? Which one do you kind of prefer, or do you not prefer anyone in particular? Go and start with Chuy.
Yeah, I think either or. I mean, they each have their advantages. The person who's really never worked out in their lives, you get to kind of mold them the way that you want them, right? We kind of have our own coaching philosophy here. I don't think it's a secret. We're a little bit more heavily leaned towards Olympic weightlifting, right? So we get to teach these people that come in, walk in these doors, like the foundation of Olympic weightlifting, have no fundamentals. Whereas like somebody that might have like a bodybuilding background will want to do a curl on a clean, right? And it's much harder for them to register in their brain that it all comes from the hips, legs, right, versus their arms, right? So I think that's the biggest advantage of somebody who's never done it.
Brennan, what do you got?
For me, it doesn't really matter, like Chuy was saying, either or is fine. I just feel like the best newcomer is the person who's really willing to just dive into our community that we have at Resident, because I feel like that's what makes our gym so great. I talk about it all the time, is that we have a phenomenal community. Like everyone's hanging out, having a good time. It's just the person who's willing to like buy into that really, really like enjoys Resident and makes Resident a better place.
Have you pursued, if after a couple of weeks people start to drop off a little bit, are there certain people you kind of pursue a little bit more? Like, oh man, you need this. I want to keep you here. You're doing so well. Like, do you text, or do you just kind of have to let them, if they stop, they stop? How much you kind of follow them or chase them or try to keep them hooked?
So
is this for you?
I'll take this one. So in the beginning, so like 3 years ago when we first started this place, first it was in my garage, right? And there was just a handful of people. And then we found this place. We're at 4,400 square feet. And day one, we started with 25 members. So a lot of empty space, right? And so I was very diligent with keeping in touch with people, because we obviously got to pay the bills, right? So it's so hard to keep up with that nowadays. We went from 25 to 160 members. So I periodically go through all of our athlete lists and look at their attendance. And although it is a business, I hate when I take their money and they don't show up, right? I mean, I want people to come here, to be part of the community and see results, right? Because when they get results, they have a positive, feedback to say about this place, right? And then they invite other people, like-minded people, and then it just continues to make this better place, right? That nucleus.
Kelsey, what have you seen in your time as a coach or even as a member at keeping people accountable? What have been some of the best ways that friends and coaches and that community has kept people accountable and kept them going there so they can get the best results?
Yeah, so I think getting really personal with people, get to know them on like a very personal friendship base. I've worked in the customer service industry for years, and we're here to serve our customers. And so I found that the best relationships that I've made with people are when people come and I get to know their background and them as a person, not just as an athlete. And then when you say they're an athlete, they're like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, you're here. You're coming every day. You're trying to keep them accountable. Even if I'm only coaching one day a week and they don't come on that day or I don't see them in class, I'm like, hey, where have you been? they're like, oh, someone's, kind of watching out for me. I think that really makes people want to come back for more.
It can be a tricky thing, for sure. Like, where have you been can be like an accusatory, and people can get very defensive about that. That can be a tough thing with, basketball and getting kids to show up to off-season workouts, this and that. You can't make people do it. It's really tough to hold people accountable, get them motivated to be there and be a part of it, but ultimately they have to do that. Because the three of you are pretty exceptional when it comes to the coaching and your performance background, how do you relate with people who aren't quite as good? It was really tough for me to fish with Chuy and Brennan because they were so bad, and it was hard for me to relate to people who were so poor at that. Just kidding, guys. How do you deal with that? That you have to remember what it feels like to not be very good anymore. How often you have to remind yourself what other people are feeling? Brennan, start with you.
Honestly, I've been there before. Like when I first started, I was really bad. Like I remember my freshman year of high school trying to do like a hang power clean and just being so like, I don't know, just like so frustrated with the movement that I was like, I'm never doing these again. And then, I dipped back into CrossFit and I still wasn't very good at it for a while. And I remember specifically telling Chuy, like, I'm bad at weightlifting, so I never really want to do it that much. And so really, like, I just look back at old videos and stuff like that of how I used to lift. And I mean, it's pretty easy for me to relate. And I always tell people too, like, hey, it's not easy, the things we're doing, or else everyone would be doing them. And I show them the videos of like what I used to look like. And I'm like, I've came a really far way too. Like, there's no reason you guys can't do that either. And I just tell them, stick with it and, don't get upset with the movements and stuff like that.
Chuy or Kelsey?
I'll go. So I think one of the advantages of me as a coach is that I would consider myself an above average competitive exerciser, and same with Olympic weightlifting. I'm not exceptional, but the one thing that I do know is that when I first found CrossFit, I fell in love with it. And, regardless of the frustrations that I have, just like Brendan said, I mean, I've been there. I know how frustrating it is. And, I think it's been 7 years now of officially doing CrossFit / weightlifting, maybe 2 years. I tell people, like, example, like, I think somebody like Michael Jordan, right, from basketball, was the best ever, right, at it. I think he'd probably make a terrible coach just because he was at the pinnacle of his performance. He's the best there is, right, where he might get frustrated with people that he coaches that, how are you not as good as me, right? How do you not get this, right? Whereas I can kind of relate more to people that don't have that experience.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to relate for sure. It's like, you've always been good. Like, how are you not wired like that? Super competitive people.
Yep.
Around people who aren't. How do you do that? Yeah.
Yep. Kelsey?
Yeah. I mean, kind of snowballing off that, the same thing, the biggest thing that I used to do a lot of one-on-ones with people back when I lived in Bakersfield. I did a lot of like elements, but it was more like one-on-one or like couples. And people who had zero experience, or they would come in and they have never been an athlete at all in their life, and they would always say, you're so patient, and that's the thing, is you have to have patience with these people, and if you don't, then they're not going to want to come back. So having that patience and, like Chuy said, relating to them on that level, we all didn't just come out of the womb being able to do chest to bar pull-ups and handstand push-ups. So celebrating the small victories too, I think that's a big one as well. So
on the front page of the newspaper here in Ketchikan, there's an article that says hazards arise in exercise rush. It says January is the boom time for fitness industry as millions of guilt-ridden Americans flock to health clubs. and then there were 5 tips to avoid mishaps on the gym floor. And number 2 was beware the treadmills. And I remember when I was at 24-Hour Fitness in Stockton, and I was just getting it, watching the TV, just getting it, and I stepped on the side with my right foot. My left leg went straight back, and then my face went down into the instep of my right foot. So I was totally just split out, horrible. I just kind of rolled off it, made a loud noise, and that was the last time I was on a treadmill. But that's where I was. That's I hate treadmills. I can't do it. Run outside. That's horrible.
Exactly.
When I started going to gym here in Ketchikan, there were a couple of times when Kevin looked at me and was just kind of like, "Oh, so that's where we're at, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, sorry, Kev," but I know, and I don't know what that is. I don't know why I'm kind of able to laugh stuff off, and some people can't. You know, they see it as a personal sort of, I can't do this, and it's a flaw, and that's hard. So how do you encourage people to, hey, man, it's okay, or if they do something that's stupid or uncouth, how do you really tell them it's okay and encourage them to keep going after something that might be embarrassing? And if you don't have anything there, why don't you tell me an experience that was embarrassing when you were at the gym at some point? Start with Brennan.
I just kind of like, I'm really good at making a fool of myself and like laughing it off. So I kind of just tell people like, who cares, right? Like especially like, I say it all the time, and I'll probably say it multiple times on this podcast, is that like Resident's a great community. We all have a good time, and like, who cares? Everyone's not really tripping. Like I remember a couple weeks ago, some girl's doing box jumps, and she totally like biffs it on the box, rolls over and looks at me, and she kind of just laughs it off. I feel like, it's the best way to do is kind of just laugh it off and just shake it off, really.
Yeah. What about you? What's something you've done, Brennan? Too many to count.
Off the top of my head, I don't know, like anything like really embarrassing, but there's a bunch of things. I trip over my own feet all the time. Stuff like that. I can't tell you how many times I'll be walking in the back corner of our gym where we have the barbell club, and I'll be walking on the side of the platform, and I just roll my ankle and fall onto the weights. And I kind of just laugh it off and I'm like, yeah, whatever, and then kind of go on my day.
Yeah, it's amazing how that's huge for some people. Like that's a really embarrassing moment, and they can't be embarrassed. Chuy or Kelsey, embarrassing moments in the gym?
Well, I'm also a very klutzy person. So I'm pretty good at, shaking things off. For example, not necessarily at the CrossFit gym, but when I was a gymnast, I, biffed it on the beam and fell in front of hundreds of people sitting there watching. And so when you do stuff like that, you get used to it, and then you kind of shake it off. So everyone does it. And that's where, being able to relate to your athletes, I think that's super important.
Yeah. Chuy, what do you got?
Super embarrassing. I don't think
not really embarrassing
by myself. Sometimes an empty gym. But even though I've done movements, 1,000 times, I've still busted my chin on like a push press, or I think I've done it twice. I've hit my forehead with a barbell, with a snatch. But I think it comes with age. I think before in my 20s, it would like totally mess with me. Like I wake up at like 2 a.m, think about how embarrassing that was, right? But now that I'm in my 30s, I'm just kind of like, whatever, I don't care what people think, right? And because I have that approach, that mentality, when I see it happen at the gym, I throw a little joke at people, and they get a laugh, I get a laugh, and it's all good times,
Yeah. As a teacher, that sort of stuff happens a lot. You misspeak in class, you do something stupid.
Yeah.
for teenagers to be able to hey, you know what, you're fine. It's going to be okay. I was in high school, I think, when I started adopting that a little bit because so many stupid things were happening. I thought, hey, I can get really embarrassed or I can start rolling with it. And that's been a huge change to be able to be vulnerable, knowing that people are going to fall down, people are going to trip, people have it's natural. Fine.
Yeah.
What about going forward for this New Year's? What's your temperature on resolutions? Have you made any? Are there like focal point words that you're going to work on, or have you already started some sort of self-improvement or life optimization? Kelsey, you want to start with that one?
Yeah, so I'm actually not a huge resolution person. I am very willing to help others with resolutions, but I'm a word person. So last year, 2017, my word was intentional. And I think I've narrowed this year, my word is going to be diligence in just kind of everything that I do. And probably staying focused on my mental health more than my physical. I kind of nailed down the nutrition thing, and so just maintaining that. But over the last year, I've really discovered that my mental health is way more important than my nutritional health. And not saying that that's not. I'm still going to stay focused on that, but I've definitely think that that's more important for me this year.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plans shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
Chuy, Brennan?
Chuy, go ahead.
So are you thinking more personal from a personal level? I'm kind of the same way with Kelsey. Although it's good to have like a new year, like a January 1st start from scratch. Like me personally, I have a goal this year in 2018. Doesn't necessarily mean I started January 1st. I think I set myself to be relentless about it about 3 months ago. And so, I'm willing to do anything possible for it. So that's officially January 1st. Yesterday, I became a master in Olympic weightlifting. So one of the advantages of that, of getting older, is that where I'm at in my weightlifting career is I have decent numbers in snatch and clean and jerk where I can make some noise. And my goal this year is to go to Masters Nationals, compete as a 94 kilo lifter, and win 3 gold medals, snatch, clean and jerk, and total, and then also take a stab at some American records. So that's where I'm at with resolutions. As far as like the gym goes, from an administrative standpoint, we never really advertise in general, and let alone for New Year's resolutions. We have I think what we have going here is it's a lifestyle thing, right? I mean, we don't need to start January 1st, and people that come here generally stay. We don't have a lot of turnover, and we've enjoyed the organic growth that we've had without having to advertise other than social media. That's it. So that just kind of goes back to my mentality of not being a big resolution guy. But I think it's important for some people, right? And just need that kind of mentally to start from scratch.
Yeah. Well, I think there's two things. I think the first one is the idea of a clean slate starting day one. You know, that doesn't happen because you're 22, 75, however old you are,
right? Because
you have all the habits that you've built up until that point. And so you're not starting from square one. You have all these habits that you're trying to break. If you try to break them all at the same time, it's going to be really difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, there is that sort of, if there is, you've been wanting to do something and you kind of need permission to be strong about it or have a spine when it comes to, okay, I'm going to do it, then, you know, maybe the resolution ends up working because, okay, I have now permission. Mentally, this is the date. It's the D-Day of you doing that. So it's kind of a funny thing. But yeah, I've been kind of working on my word since probably June. Conversation I've had when I was down there. And it's a process. So now I'm at a point where I'm, you know, focusing a little bit more, but you know, it's gradual. It's tough to just start everything on one day.
Right.
So things are generally getting better, and they weren't bad to begin with, but it's been a lot of fun building up to it.
Sure.
Brennan, what do you got?
I'm not, like Chuy and Kelsey, I'm not like a huge resolution person. Like, I think the past 3 years I've had the same resolution. I always fail. It's like, I got a bit of a potty mouth, so I've been trying to like hold that back a little bit. So that's like my resolution, I guess you can say.
Not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, but I'm going to try. I mean, I am going to start eating cleaner. I had a rough December, and I let my body weight kind of get away from me. So, you know, I'm probably going to get back on the train here when I come back from Southern California. Also, I do start the credential program at Stanislaus this year. So I'm going to like try and like focus more on my academics, like take it a little more seriously. Cause this last semester, my last semester of undergrad, I had a pretty easy schedule and I was really lazy all semester. So I'm going to try and like get back on the horse of that. And, like Chuy though, I have like goals that, I mean, I've been training for like every day. So I want to go to university nationals in the under 25s and want to win those, obviously, get some medals. I want to go to the American Open Series 1 and 2, get some medals there. I have specific numbers that I want to hit as far as the snatch and clean and jerk. Me and Chuy just went over those for my program. I want to snatch 116 kilos. I don't know exactly what that is in pounds. And then I want to clean and jerk 140 kilos. That's 308 pounds. So just, you know, I'm just going to keep grinding on those. I've been grinding on those for the past 2 weeks. I just started a new cycle. So that's kind of what I got planned for the new year.
Yeah. You said you had a rough December. Where are the three of you at on taking breaks or the whole cheat meal type thing? Some people are, if I'm going to do this diet thing, I have to do it 100% all in. And some people kind of resent the diet because it doesn't allow them to have something that they really like. Same thing with like the working out. Oh man, I missed a day or two. So where are you at as far as allowing for comfort foods, allowing for a conscious sort of decision? Okay, I know this isn't what I'm supposed to eat, but because I've been really good, I'm going to allow myself to have a little bit of ice cream. How important is that to not judge yourself? And how often do you three kind of take a break from your regimen to relax that a little bit? Start with Kelsey.
Yeah, so I have kind of an interesting relationship with food. I really actually enjoy eating healthy, but that's not something that I have done my whole life. It's been a thing where I've kind of forced myself over the years to eat clean, 80-90% of the time. And this past 2 years, I would say, so I was on a competitive team over in San Jose. So it really kind of forced me to stay diligent with my meals and my meal prep and all that stuff. And so with that, and not competing anymore, or, taking a break from competing, I have just found that it's so important to stay with my nutrition. People are so concerned between Thanksgiving and Christmas about their nutrition. They're like, oh my gosh, like I'm eating so much cake and cookies and all the foods because there's so many parties. And so for me, it's not what happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. It's the rest of the year that's important to stay on your diet, so that when those times come, when those parties come, when that family time is, you don't feel as guilty because you're like, oh, I'm eating healthy a majority of the time. But then when you do eat like that, your body, kind of is like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? Because you're eating clean 80-90% of the time, and then you're enjoying yourself, you feel the effects a lot more of eating poorly. And so it really reinforces it for me to not do that as often.
Yeah. Do you, Brennan?
I'll go. So for me, the thing is, I cut weight for my meats, right? And I have bad cravings all the time when I'm cutting. And so I always look for those, after my meats, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to eat? And this cut wasn't rough, right? I felt fine throughout the entire time. But what had happened after was, when I'm done, now it's Christmas time, it's my birthday, finals are coming around for me. So after finals, I want to drink a lot. For my birthday, people were making me cookies and stuff like that. The biggest thing for me this December was my girlfriend kept making snickerdoodle cookies, and they're my favorite thing ever. I love snickerdoodle cookies, and it was cookie dough and then 5 cookies later, and it's just I need to stop with these cravings all the time. So that's the hardest part for me when it comes to eating, is that I'll be cutting and then I just have these cravings and I feel I need to satisfy, because I'm I only have so much time before I have to start cutting again, because I have meats all the time. But I just try and I don't really know. I'm really bad at the whole eating clean. Kelsey loves to eat clean, whereas I love cookies and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm plan on trying to get back on the horse of my diet, but for me it is what it is right now.
Well, there's that some level of accountability, with you and your weightlifting goals. That's going to get you back in there. The people you're around too, the people who once they fail, and if they don't have people who are, hey, it's all right, we're going to get back on this together. If you don't have that, that can be really difficult. So if you have people who are doing the resolution type thing, if they don't have a support group of people who are going to be, hey, you had a cookie, big deal, you're fine, whatever. Okay? Yeah. But if you don't have that, if you do miss the gym 2 or 3 days, you don't have people saying, hey, where are you? Or you're not going to the gym with those people. That can be pretty huge. It's easy for us to maybe get back on track.
Yeah. My whole accountability thing is I have certain days where I start cutting, all right, this is the day. And then I do really good when I start cutting. It's just I have a really difficult time holding myself accountable during those times where I'm all right, I don't have to cut. I'm really, really on my diet when I need to.
Yeah.
That's my thing. And we do the whole 30-day challenges at Resident, and like, I feel like I would do really good at that stuff because I'd have people holding me accountable, but they just kind of don't like really go in line with my like cutting and stuff like that. So, but I should definitely get on that whole accountability thing with somebody else to have me hold me accountable. So
yeah. I kind of let myself slide a little bit during the summer. I was just doing fishing trips and this and that. And so the first hunting trip, my buddy Steve and I went up this mountain, and we just went up the side of it. And I was dead, just gasping for air. I had asthma and just sweating. And I couldn't have even like made a responsible shot on the deer. And he says, sometimes it's good to get your butt kicked. And I'm just hurting. So when you guys came up and we went on that hike, I was in much better shape. But yeah, it's you feel bad when you lose it sometimes. Like, man, I need to stay in, because it's better to be closer to in shape and feeling really good than it is to be so out of shape that getting out of it hurts so much more, or getting back in shape hurts so much more. So, Chuy, what do you got?
For me, as of late, I've kind of taken the mentality, and I mean, I'm obviously transitioning, but the mentality of some of the members that walk in here is like, hey, I'm doing this so I can eat naughty right on the weekend and just justify me eating that extra cookie or dessert or what have you, right? So this holiday season, I just kind of embraced all the goodies that are around during the holiday season, from Thanksgiving to really New Year's and
it's really Halloween, actually.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But like I said earlier, I have my specific goals in 2018, and I officially shotgunned my last beer up until competition
there,
and all the goodies, all the sweets and stuff. I've taken them out. So I just, needed to get out of my system, and now it's, full on with my goals. And I think, using myself as an example, it would help. It helps a lot of people having specific goals, right? Not just necessarily, I want to be fit, right? Well, let's talk about the specifics, right? What is define fit, right? Well, I want to look like this. Okay, well then, we start with short-term goals and then long-term goals, right? I think what happens a lot with people walking into the gym, and I don't think you've ever met my wife, but my wife, she did a bikini contest, and she has 8-pack abs, right? She's had 2 babies, right? And just shredded. And, people think, it's going to be overnight that they're going to look like that, and they get disillusioned. So, but, people don't understand that she has a lifestyle, right? She eats clean. She takes care of herself, and it's been years that she's been doing that, right? So, so like I said, it's real important to have short-term goals and then long-term goals.
Yeah. Well, I know it's been, you guys just had class and stuff. I know, Brennan, you're still down in Southern California. So can each of you do a little closing thought, and then where people can find you if they want to follow you or join the gym? Start, Kelsey.
Kelsey's petting Stella. She's coming. She's here.
So I think it's really important. My biggest take on 2017 was that I was in my ultimate. I was the strongest I ever was. I was in my most competitive state with CrossFit. But I also, what people don't know is I had a full-time job. I was training 2 to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I was putting my body through hell. And although I was getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep and all that, good stuff, the amount of stress that my body was under was taking a greater toll on my body than, anything else. I had my nutrition on point. I was recovering, but the stress just really was making me physically and putting me in physical pain and making me ill. And so when I switched jobs, I got recruited for a job here and moved here, and I felt all that stress go away. I really saw the difference in what it was doing in my training and in my health. And so that's why I think that your mental state is so much more important than anything else. But if, people want help, they need, help getting started and stuff, you can find me on Instagram. It's at kiss_me_k, or you can email me, Kelsey M. Sheehan at gmail.com. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Chuy.
Me, my, do you want closing thoughts?
Yeah, closing thoughts and contact info.
Yeah. Well, contact info, you can reach me at the Instagram, Resident CrossFit. There's a few other people that have access to it, but I'll respond to that. Any questions? Some closing thoughts. I guess I'll take from a coaching standpoint. I think a lot of people who follow our social media, and I've heard, people that work out here. I've heard comments like, "Wow, you guys are intense." Like, "Oh, you guys are beasts," and that's not necessarily the case. I mean, and everybody's a beast in their own self, right? We have guys that deadlift 700 pounds, have California records, and then we have people that have never worked out in their lives, and so we have a good balance here. I think ultimately it's the community that we have here, the positive environment is what that we have to foster for new members. And every movement that we do, whether you've done a snatch or a clean and jerk or not, every movement that we do is modifiable. So everybody starts from somewhere, from zero. So just don't be disillusioned by that.
Cool. B, what do you got?
Well, my contact information, my Instagram is at Brennan. It's BREHNNAN. Yeah, it's my Instagram. Don't laugh at me.
Is Nick Bruh there? Nick Bruh?
Nick Bruh's not with me, but I am with the superior athlete Gary Crone right now.
Oh, no way. Gary Crone, G. Crone.
Gary, he's not in the room. I told him that I'm doing a podcast and he needs to leave me alone. He goes, "Oh, okay, all right."
The legend.
Yeah, the legend. So yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. Message me, I'll respond. I also have the access to Resident CrossFit, but I'll leave all those to Chuy because that's his thing. I have the Resident Barbell Club, which is at Resident Barbell Club. You can follow those, ask me and Chuy questions. And then my closing thought, I don't know. I feel like I need more direction, Lon. Can you give me some direction on a closing thought?
I know, open-ended questions. Well, how about this one? How about the weightlifting nationals was in your top moments of 2017. What is 2018 going to have to do in order to top your 30-pound king salmon that you broke my rod on?
Oh, man. I don't know if I can ever top that. That is the pinnacle of my life.
Come up and harvest some deer meat, some venison. That might be the next thing.
Yeah, I think I'd have to top the 30-pound king salmon. I'd probably have to go 6 for 6 at a national meet, or come up to Alaska and pack a deer down a mountain with you.
Yeah. It's tough to think about those total images that you want for the upcoming year because they may or may not happen. Sometimes you have control over them, sometimes you don't. But yeah, that was sweet. I was just telling some buddies about it today. Pretty good experience. But well, thanks you three for taking some time out of your whatever day this is. I'm still on Christmas break, so I don't even know what day it is. Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Yeah. Thanks, really appreciate it, and make sure you follow them, check that out, and I hope you're enjoying some of that warm weather down there. It's been pretty chilly up here in Alaska.
Southern California is great right now.
Yeah, what's the temperature down there?
I think it got up to like mid to low 70s today. I was out playing wiffle ball and shorts and a t-shirt. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that's it was like 15 2 days ago. Whatever. Well, you know what I didn't have to deal with? I didn't have to deal with traffic.
Yeah, that is 100% correct.
And my morning commute to the basketball tournament was past snowy mountains and the ocean. So you know what? It's everything's relative.
Yeah, that doesn't suck.
No, it sure doesn't. Well, black ice does, but yeah. Other than that, that's it. But, well, thanks again for Chuy, Brennan, Kelsey, and we'll be in touch. And make sure you follow them on social media. Go check out their Instagrams and take care of you three. Really appreciate you taking the time to be on with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That will do it for episode 20. Make sure that you go to themediocrealaskan.com. Check out content. There's features, there's profiles, there's columns, there's pictures, there's all things Alaska. There's fishing advice, there's hunting advice, there's videos, a whole bunch of good stuff. Thanks again to that trio from Resident CrossFit. Check them out for sure if you are in the area and you are looking to become your best self. And we will talk to you next time.